The first meteor struck during rush hour in Phoenix, shattering car windows with a sound like God dropping a chandelier. Dr. Ava Carter arrived before the smoke cleared, her boots crunching over glass and a strange, ink-black rock humming in the crater. It wasn't the heat or the eerie glow that froze her. It was the symbols, writhing across its surface like serpents. As she reached out, the markings snapped into a message her brain shouldn't have understood. Laziness is extinction. By dawn, half the world's coffee makers would short-circuit, freeways would jam with empty cars, and people would begin to stop. Not die, not faint, just halt, as if the universe itself had pressed pause. And Ava? She'd realized too late that the meteor wasn't a warning. It was a declaration of war, from landlords who'd owned the cosmos long before humans learned to crawl. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel by clicking the card button on the top right corner and hitting the notification bell so you can get amazing daily stories as and when published. Please do comment your views about the story or any topic that you want to get a story on. We will make it happen. Let's dive in the story. Dr. Ava Carter squinted at her laptop screen, her third cup of coffee going cold beside a tower of astrophysics journals. The clock blinked 3:47 a.m. in her cluttered New Mexico lab. "Come on, you overglorified calculator," she muttered, jabbing at the keyboard. "Run the simulation one more time." Her charcoal gray bodysuit clung to her like a second skin, practical yet unapologetically bold, a choice her male colleagues never let her forget. A shrill alarm shattered the silence. Ava's head snapped up. Through the window, a fiery streak split the night sky, closer than any meteor she'd ever seen. Grabbing her gear, she sprinted to her Jeep, her boots kicking up dust. "Marcus, you seeing this?" she barked in her phone, tires screeching onto the highway. "Seeing it? My seismometer's having a panic attack." Marcus Reed's voice crackled, tinny and tense. "Whatever that is, it's not on NASA's radar. Literally. Give me samples, Ava. Now." The crash site smoldered in a desert clearing, the air thick with the tang of burnt metal. Ava approached, her breath hitching. The meteor, no, object, was obsidian black, its surface etched with glowing symbols that pulsed like neon veins. She crouched, gloved fingers hovering. "It's warm, like it's alive. Don't touch it yet." Marcus shouted. "What if it's radioactive? Or what? An alien mailbox?" She leaned closer, squinting. The symbols rearranged themselves, lines slithering into sharp, angular text. Her blood turned to ice. It's writing. Ancient Sumerian, but older. Way older. "Since when do you read Sumerian?" "Since my thesis on Babylonian star charts." She traced a symbol with her thumb. "Laziness is extinction." The words hung in the air, brittle and ominous. Marcus groaned. "Great. A motivational poster from outer space." Ava's head throbbed. The symbols flared brighter, searing the phrase into her retinas. She stumbled back, yanking off her glove. Her palm bore a faint mark like a brand. "Something's wrong. This isn't just a rock. It's a—" Her phone died mid-sentence. The Jeep's headlights flickered out. Across the desert, the distant glow of Albuquerque vanished, plunging the world into silent darkness. "Hello." Ava spun, heart hammering. "Marcus? Marcus?" Static. She raced back to town, her Jeep's radio spewing garbled noise. The highway was a graveyard of stalled cars, drivers standing motionless in the road. Not dead, not unconscious, just empty. A man in a business suit stared at the sky, his Starbucks dripping onto his shoes. A teenager frozen mid-text, screen cracked. "Hey." Ava shook a woman's shoulder. "Can you hear me?" No response. The woman's eyes were glassy, fixated on nothing. A low hum vibrated in Ava's teeth. She turned. Above the desert, a second meteor flared, then a third, a fourth, streaking toward the horizon. "Oh no," she whispered. "No, no, no." Her laptop buzzed to life in the passenger seat, screen glitching. Words materialized. You were warned. Tires screeched behind her. A military convoy skidded to a halt, soldiers in hazmat suits fanning out. A woman with ice-blonde hair and a navy blue tactical suit stepped forward, her voice razor-sharp. "Dr. Carter? General Nora Hayes. We need you to come with us." Ava clutched her branded palm. "What's happening?" Nora's gaze dropped to the glowing symbols on the meteor fragment in Ava's trunk. The end of excuses. Somewhere, deep in the void between stars, something ancient stirred and smiled. The fluorescent lights of the underground lab buzzed like angry wasps as Ava stared at the meteor fragment, now encased in a bulletproof glass box. General Nora Hayes stood rigid beside her, arms crossed. "Your partner's late," she said, glancing at her watch. "If he's as brilliant as you claim, Dr. Carter, he'd know time's a luxury we don't have." The door slammed open. Marcus Reed stumbled in, his lab coat singed at the hem and his glasses taped at the bridge. The subway froze mid-tunnel. Had to crawl through a maintenance shaft. He dumped a pile of cables onto a work table, eyeing Nora warily. "Who's the Terminator?" "Focus, Marcus." Ava snapped, pulling up a hologram of the meteor's symbols. "We need to trace its origin. Now." Marcus plugged a device into the lab's mainframe, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Ran the data you sent. These symbols aren't just old. They're prehistoric. Older than any language on Earth." The screen flickered, star maps overlapping. The radiation signature matches a cluster of stars in the Whirlpool Galaxy, formed billions of years before our solar system. Nora leaned in. "Aliens. Worse." Marcus adjusted his glasses. "Think of them as cosmic landlords. The universe's first tenants. They've been watching us, and guess what? We failed the vibe check." Ava's branded palm tingled. The message said laziness is extinction. Why target us? A sudden hum filled the room. The meteor fragment glowed, projecting a hologram of a towering figure with obsidian skin and eyes like smoldering coals. Marcus yelped, knocking over a coffee cup. "Okay, that's new." The figure's voice rumbled, deep and resonant. "We are the Verati, architects of the first dawn. Your species clings to sloth like a crutch. You devour creation without honor. This ends." Nora drew her sidearm. "Turn it off." "Don't." Ava grabbed her wrist. "It's a recording or a live feed. We need to listen." The hologram's gaze locked onto Ava. "You bear the mark. You will witness the convergence." The image shifted. Massive ships descending over cities, beams of light turning crowds into statues. The unworthy become fuel. The worthy endure. Marcus choked. "Fuel? Like they're farming us." The hologram vanished. The lab lights surged back on, revealing sweat gleaming on Nora's forehead. "They're not invading," she said quietly. "They're pruning." Ava's mind raced. The blackout, the frozen people, it's a test. They're siphoning human inertia, weeding out anyone who doesn't resist. Marcus pulled up a global map, red dots blinking where meteors had struck. "Look, power grids are failing in every zone. But here," he zoomed in on Tokyo, "this district's still running. Reports of people working nonstop. No sleep, no breaks." "Survivors?" Nora asked. "Not exactly." He played security footage. A woman in a business suit typing furiously, fingers bleeding, eyes vacant. "They're not human anymore. They are machines." Ava's stomach churned. The Verati aren't curing laziness. They're erasing free will, turning us into batteries. Nora's phone rang. She listened, her face hardening. Another meteor hit Chicago. They're targeting major hubs. She strode toward the door. "You two figure out how to stop this. I'll buy us time." "Wait." Marcus called after her. "What's the plan?" Nora didn't turn. "Same as always. Shoot first. Ask questions while reloading." The door slammed. Marcus slumped into a chair. "We're doomed." Ava studied the meteor, her reflection warped in its glassy surface. They said I bear the mark. What if that's not a curse? She pressed her branded palm against the glass. The symbols flared, and for a heartbeat, she felt it, a pull like static in her veins. Marcus gaped, your hands glowing. Outside, sirens wailed. Somewhere, the Verratti laughed. Ava's apartment smelled of burnt coffee and dread. She paced the cramped space, her branded palm throbbing. The city outside buzzed with unnatural energy. Car horns blaring at empty intersections, streetlights flashing red and green at once. She grabbed her half-empty coffee mug, then froze. Her reflection in the window moved. Long night, Dr. Carter? She spun, mug shattering on the floor. The Verratti emissary leaned against her kitchen counter, his obsidian skin drinking in the dim light. Kalon's smile revealed teeth like shards of onyx. You'll need better reflexes for what's coming. Get out. She lunged for the fire extinguisher. He vanished in a swirl of shadow, reappearing behind her. His breath chilled her neck. TSK, still clinging to primitive weapons. Adorable. Ava elbowed backward, hitting only air. What do you want? To help. He flicked a finger. Her laptop hissed, dissolving into black sludge. Your gadgets make you soft. Weak. She stared at the bubbling remains. That was my life's work. Exactly. Kalon circled her, trailing smoke. Your species once hunted mammoths. Now you hunt. Wi-Fi bastards. He paused at her framed degrees. Tell me, Doctor, when was the last time you solved a problem without staring at a screen? Ava's hand crept toward her phone. Ah. He tooted. The phone melted in her grip, scorching her fingers. No cheating. She sucked in breath. Why me? Why the mark? He seized her wrist, the brand glowing crimson. Because you resist. Even now, your pulse quickens with fight, not fear. His starfire eyes narrowed. Pity it's wasted on monkeys with nuclear codes. The building shuddered. Sirens wailed 3 stories below. Kalon tilted his head. Your General Hayes is early. How predictable. He dissolved into smoke, his voice echoing. Find me when you tire of losing. Ava lunged for the door, just as boots thundered up the stairs. Carter! Nora kicked it open, soldiers fanning behind her. We're evacuating you to... No time. Ava shoved past, snatching a crowbar from the stairwell. Marcus found something. I need to get to Times Square. Nora blocked her. The subway's crawling with those things. Better than staying here. Ava ducked under her arm. You coming or not? The streets were a carnival of chaos. A delivery robot spun in circles, tossing sushi at pigeons. A stockbroker sprinted past, screaming, "The Nasdaq is breathing." They found Marcus's bunker behind a boarded-up arcade, its neon sign sputtering game over. Marcus yanked them inside, his hoodie smeared with circuit board grease. Took you long enough. They're everywhere. In the power lines, the water, we know. Ava said. Kalon paid a house call. He gaped. The lava lamp guy? Did he? Melt my phone? Yeah. She nodded at his cluttered desk. What did you find? He played a distorted audio file. Screams. Then a wet, slurping noise. Intercepted this from a Verratti transmission. They're not just zapping people, they're feeding. Nora paled. On what? Brainwaves. Marcus pulled up a graph. See these spikes? Every time someone procrastinates or zones out, the Verratti get a snack. They're harvesting apathy like crop farmers. Ava's brand pulsed. That's why they froze people mid-distraction. Easy pickings. Worse. Marcus tapped a map. They're building something big. All transmissions reference a convergence in 72 hours. Nora cocked her pistol. Where? Everywhere. He zoomed out. The entire eastern seaboard glowed red. It's not an invasion. It's a harvest. Ava's vision blurred. The brand on her hand flared, showing her flashes. Skyscraper-sized machines drilling into Earth's crust. Human faces staring blankly as glowing tendrils siphoned their will. Hey, Marcus shook her. You're leaking. Black smoke curled from her nostrils. She coughed, tasting ash. I saw their plan. The convergence isn't a weapon. It's a straw. They're going to drain humanity's motivation dry. Nora grabbed walkie-talkie. I'll mobilize A boom shook the bunker. Dust rained from the ceiling. On the security cams, a Varadi ship hovered outside, its hull rippling like liquid night. Kalon's voice boomed through the walls. Hide and seek ends now, little rebels. Ava gripped her crowbar. The brand glowed hotter. Marcus, got any lithium batteries? He blinked. In the generator room? She smiled. Perfect. Somewhere above, the Varadi ship began to hum. The bunker's lights died as the Varadi ship's hum deepened to a roar. Ava fumbled for Marcus's arm in the dark, her branded palm casting a faint red glow. Generator room now. They stumbled through pitch-black corridors, Nora's soldiers providing cover fire. Bullets sparked uselessly against the ship's hull outside. This is insane, Marcus yelled, tripping over a cable. Lithium burns, it doesn't explode. Ever seen a cell phone battery catch fire? Ava shoved him into the generator room, where stacks of lithium-ion batteries lined the walls. Hook these to the main power line. Now, Marcus hesitated. If this goes sideways, we'll be vaporized. We're already vaporized. Nora kicked open the door, firing at a shadowy tendril slithering through the vents. Move it, Einstein! The ship's drill pierced the ceiling, showering them in concrete dust. Kalon's voice oozed through the gap. Persistent pests. You'll make excellent janitors in our new order. Ava's brand seared as she grabbed 2 battery terminals. Marcus now. He flipped the switch. The explosion was silent at first, a blinding blue arc leaping from the batteries to the ship. Then sound rushed back in a thunderclap. The Varadi vessel shuddered, its obsidian surface bubbling like tar. It's working. Marcus cheered. Out! Out! Nora dragged them backward as the ship imploded, sucking debris into a miniature black hole before vanishing. Dawn found them in a Nevada lithium mine, the air choked with alkali dust. Ava wiped sweat from her brow, her bodysuit streaked with grime. They're vulnerable to lithium. That's our edge. Nora scowled at satellite footage on a tablet. Not for long. Look, Tokyo's skyline glittered, its streets pristine. But the people, they're synchronized, Marcus whispered. Workers marched in perfect rhythm, faces blank. Cars moved without collision, traffic flowing like blood in veins. A news feed showed a factory worker assembling microchips for 19 hours straight, fingers bleeding. Efficiency without empathy, Ava muttered. This is their perfection. A mine supervisor ran up, face ashen. General, you gotta see this. Deep in the mine, a Varadi spire jutted from the earth, its base covered in glowing veins. A worker stood nearby, eyes vacant. Touched the damn thing 2 hours ago, the supervisor said. Now he won't sleep, won't eat. Just works. Ava approached the man. Sir, can you hear me? He hammered a rock sample mechanically. Must optimize. Marcus scanned him with a Geiger counter. No radiation. But his brain waves, they're flatlined. No rem cycles, no delta waves. They've deleted his need for rest. Nora kicked the spire. So they're not just stealing laziness. They're stealing recovery. Ava's brand pulsed. She pressed it to the spire and gasped. Visions flooded her mind. The dying planet orbiting a black sun. Varadi collapsing from exhaustion, their skin cracking like dry clay. A desperate council voting to harvest lesser species. They're not monsters, she rasped, coming back to herself. They're refugees. Their world's dying, and they're cannibalizing ours to survive. Marcus adjusted his cracked glasses. Doesn't excuse turning Bob here into a zombie. A klaxon blared. The spire began to throb. Incoming, Nora shouted. They dove for cover as a Varadi dropship screeched overhead, blasting the mine with a beam of liquid shadow. Where it struck, workers snapped to attention, marching toward the spire. They're building an army. Marcus yelled. Ava watched a woman's hair turn gray within minutes, her body collapsing mid-stride. No, they're burning them out. The human body can't handle this. Nora radioed a jet squadron. Glass that spire. Now, wait. Ava grabbed her arm. The workers are already gone. Nora's voice cracked. You think I don't know what that's like? The bombs fell. As the spire melted, Ava caught a glimpse of Kalon in the smoke, his obsidian armor reflecting the flames. He nodded slowly, almost respectfully, before dissolving. That night, Marcus found the pattern. The attacks, they're following lithium deposits. China, Australia here, they're targeting our ability to fight back. Ava studied a global map. Then we hit their motherlode. What motherlode? She pointed to the Pacific Ocean and the glowing Verati structure rising from the Mariana Trench. The convergence. Somewhere in the depths, ancient machines began to pulse. The submarine Leviathan plunged into the abyssal dark, its floodlights cutting through water as thick as oil. Ava pressed her branded palm against the viewport, the mark pulsing in time with the distant glow of the convergence below. It's alive, she whispered. Marcus hunched over his sonar screen, his face bathed in green static. And hungry. Look at these energy spikes. It's sucking lithium from the seabed like a kid with a milkshake. Nora adjusted her headset, her reflection sharp in the glass. Intel says the Verati's core is protected by a plasma shield. Your little battery trick won't work here, Carter. Then we go old school. Ava unzipped a weapons crate, revealing rows of lithium grenades. We overload their intake valves, blow the circuit from the inside. Marcus snorted. Sure, because infiltrating an alien death machine with fireworks always goes smoothly. The sub jerked violently. Klaxons wailed as the hull groaned. Depth charge, the pilot yelled. They've seen us. Through the viewport, a swarm of Verati drones surged upward, mechanical eels with glowing red eyes. Nora grabbed the periscope. Evasive maneuvers. Fire. Countermeasures. The sub banked hard, tossing Ava into Marcus. You're enjoying this, she hissed, scrambling to her feet. My therapist calls it trauma bonding. He clung to a console as a drone scraped the hull, its claws screeching against metal. Ava's brand flared. She seized the controls, her hands moving instinctively. There, a maintenance shaft. The drones can't follow us in. You want to dive deeper? Marcus choked. You got a better idea? Nora slammed the throttle. The sub corkscrewed into a narrow crevice, drones exploding against the rocks behind them. The convergence loomed ahead, a colossal spire of writhing black tendrils, its base fused with the ocean floor. Marcus gaped. It's growing, like a cancer. Ava suited up in a pressurized dive exoskeleton, her bodysuit's seals hissing. We got 20 minutes before the shield cycles. Marcus, you're on distraction duty. Distraction? With what? She tossed him a modified sonar buoy. Make noise. Lots of it. Nora checked her sidearm. I'll cover the retreat. But if that thing starts to collapse, run. Got it. Ava locked her helmet. Ready. The airlock flooded with icy water. She kicked into the abyss. Lithium grenades strapped to her belt. The convergence's pull was magnetic, her brand burning hotter with every stroke. Kalon materialized beside her, his form rippling like heat haze. Still playing hero? How human. Still monologuing? How boring. She detonated a grenade. The shockwave scattered a drone patrol, revealing a pulsing artery in the spire's side. He grabbed her wrist, his touch freezing. You'll die here. Let your kind fade with dignity. She headbutted his smoky form. We don't fade. Inside the spire, the walls throbbed like a heartbeat. Ava planted charges at each junction, her breath ragged in the helmet's confines. Marcus? Status. His voice crackled. They're swarming the buoy. Get out before. A tendril lashed her leg, yanking her into a chamber. The core glowed ahead, a spinning orb of liquid shadow, Virati, symbols swirling within. Ava! Marcus screamed, the shield cycling in 10. She reached for the core. Her brand ignited, the chamber flashing with memories. Virati children crumbling to dust, their elders weeping as the convergence took its first soul. Kalon appeared, armor cracked. You see now, we had no choice. There's always a choice. She primed the last grenade. This is ours. The explosion tore through the spire. The Leviathan's grappler hook snatched her from the collapsing void as the convergence imploded, swallowing itself in a vortex of light. Back on the surface, Ava watched the sea churn. It's not over. They'll come harder now. Marcus slumped against a railing. Worse than a black hole in the ocean. Nora reloaded her pistol. They're desperate. Desperate enemies make mistakes. Far below, in the crushing dark, a Virati beacon blinked to life. Prepare the ascension. The Arctic night burned with auroras, not the gentle greens of earth, but violent purples and blood-red streaks. Ava stood on the Leviathan's deck, her breath frosting in the -40 degrees air. Below the ice, the Virati's black hole generator pulsed like a rotten heart. They're not rebuilding, Marcus said, hunched over a thermal scanner. They're digging, straight through the mantle. Nora spat into the wind. To what? Hell. Worse. Ava's brand itched beneath her glove. The ascension. They're turning Earth into a battery farm. A rumble shook the ice. Cracks spiderwebbed outward, glowing veins spreading beneath their boots. Move! Nora shoved them toward a snowcat as the ice split. The Leviathan slid into the abyss, its hull screaming. Kalon rose from the fissure, his armor studded with jagged ice. You delay the inevitable. The ascension cannot be. Ava shot him point-blank with a lithium-tipped round. His chest shattered like black glass. Talk. Faster. He reformed, laughter echoing. Still you fight, even as your own flesh betrays you. She glanced at her hand. The brand had spread. Crimson veins now snaked up her wrist. Marcus yelped. Ava? Your eyes. She caught her reflection in an ice shard. Her irises glowed Virati red. Nora raised her gun. Carter, what's happening to you? Later. Ava kicked open the snowcat's hatch. We need to reach the generator's core before the ice exploded. A Virati dreadnought breached the surface, its hull bristling with spinning black holes that devoured the northern lights. The air itself screamed as reality frayed. Marcus vomited into his scarf. Gravity's wrong. Nora gripped the steering wheel, muscles straining. Hold on to your teeth. They careened across the crumbling ice sheet, the dreadnought's shadow swallowing the horizon. Ava's vision doubled. She saw both the snowcat's dashboard and the Virati bridge, crewed by skeletal figures feeding on swirling dark matter. Left, she screamed. Nora swerved as a gravity well crushed their previous path. How'd you know? I'm linked. To them. Ava clutched her head. The brand's a two-way street. I can see their plans. Marcus shoved a tablet at her. Then look at this. The screen showed Earth's core, a Virati drill burrowing toward it. They're not just draining motivation. They're stealing our planet's rotation. No spin, no magnetic field, no atmosphere, Nora finished. We'll be Mars in a week. The snowcat's engine died. Kalon materialized in the back seat, his fingers elongating into blades. No more distractions. Ava headbutt him, her skull ringing. Go. I'll hold him off. Like hell. Nora grabbed her collar. We do this together or not at. The roof tore away. A Virati claw lifted the snowcat, shaking it like a toy. Marcus clung to his seatbelt. Ava, the brand, use it. She ripped off her glove. The crimson mark flared, projecting a hologram map of the dreadnought. There. The core's here. Nora aimed her last lithium grenade. You're sure? No. Ava met her glare. But I'm done being sure. Kalon lunged. The grenade detonated. White light. Silence. Ava woke in free fall, the dreadnought's hull crumbling around her. She caught a railing, her gloves smoking. Below, the black hole generator spun wildly, consuming its own ship. Marcus's voice crackled in her earpiece. Ava, the drill's at 99%. You gotta, she jumped. Wind tore at her as she plummeted toward the generator's event horizon, brand blazing. Kalon appeared mid-fall, his form flickering. You'll die with them. Then I'll die human. She slammed her branded palm into the core. Reality rewound. She saw Earth's birth, a molten rock, the first variety arriving, seeding early humans with potential. The brand on her hand wasn't a curse. It was an invitation. The generator imploded. Ava floated in void-black silence, Kalon's ash swirling around her. His final whisper tickled her ear. Finish what we... Her earpiece beeped. Marcus, sobbing. Ava, the drill stopped. Where are you? She smiled at the stars. Coming home. The Variety beacon's final transmission blinked across every screen on Earth. Ascension failed. Initiate final protocol. The Arctic wind howled like a wounded animal as Ava materialized on the crumbling ice sheet, her body flickering between human and Variety shadows. Marcus tackled her in a hug before she'd fully solidified. You idiot! You glowy idiot! Nora stared at Ava's hands, now permanently etched with luminous Variety runes. What are you? Later, Ava pushed them toward a half-destroyed research station. The final protocol's a dead man's switch. It'll strip Earth's potential unless we... The ground erupted. A spire of black crystal shot skyward, its surface crawling with the same symbols from the first meteor. Final protocol initiated. Species termination, 10 minutes. Marcus gaped at the countdown. 10 minutes? We can't even microwave popcorn in 10, the brand. Ava pressed her palm to the crystal. It's a key, but I need a power source. Nora cursed, eyeing the lithium batteries in their snowcat. Will these work? Like a charm. Ava yanked cables free, sparks dancing in her hybrid eyes. Hook them to the main terminal. Marcus, give me a global broadcast. He hacked into a satellite uplink, fingers trembling. Ready. But what are you gonna... The crystal flared. Ava's consciousness exploded across the planet, every screen flickering to her face. She spoke in 1,000 languages at once. Look at us. Footage rolled. A nurse collapsing after a 48-hour shift, then crawling to check her patient. A firefighter sobbing as he carried a child from flames. A scientist smashing her failed experiment, then restarting. We're not perfect. We're better. The countdown froze at 7 seconds. Kalon's voice boomed from the crystal. Sentiment. How human. A shadowy figure emerged. The first variety, ancient and crumbling. We gifted your ancestors ambition, yet you squandered it on petty comforts. Ava stepped forward, her form shimmering. You didn't gift us ambition. You stole it, locked it behind fear. She gestured to the footage of a street musician playing as cities burned. This is humanity. Flawed, tired, still trying. The variety's cracks spread. Without order, chaos. Without chaos, growth. Ava slammed her palm into the crystal. We choose both. The spire exploded in a rain of black snow. Across Earth, frozen people gasped awake. Traffic lights stuttered to life. Coffee machines brewed. Marcus hooped, slipping on ice. We did it. Take that, you space vampires. Nora didn't lower her gun. It's over. Ava watched the auroras fade to normal green. For now, epilogue. 3 weeks later, Ava stood on her New Mexico roof, studying the stars through variety-enhanced vision. Marcus's voice crackled through her earpiece. New meteor cluster heading for Mars. Intercept, she smiled, tracing the constellation Kalon had shown her in the void. Let them come. We'll be ready. In her pocket, the black star pendant glowed. A beacon, not a warning. Hidden detail revealed. The Variety's war was their dying act. seeding their knowledge into worthy hybrids. Ava's transformation wasn't an infection. It was a graduation. Humanity had finally outgrown its teachers. Somewhere beyond Pluto, a new Verati fleet received the signal. Their response flickered through the void. Acknowledged. Proceed to Trial 2. Yindi, here is the story ends. If you enjoyed and want to watch more thrilling sci-fi adventures, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Dive into epic battles, explore distant galaxies, and join brave heroes as they fight for survival against impossible odds. Let us know in comments if you want next chapters to publish soon. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and become part of the journey. Together, we'll keep the last light burning. Subscribe now and let the adventure continue.